I want to introduce to you today and welcome our speaker. She's been turning the adult industry on its head. She's an entrepreneur around town doing some very creative things with how she approaches her business. She has a shop down the street on Telegraph called Fillmore 510. She turns it into a nice gallery space for art and also adult creative toys. She has a book coming out in May, Faith, Flesh, and Finance. Nenna, join her.
All right. So I want to say first and foremost, thank you so much. Good morning. How's everybody? Are you guys up? Are you guys up? I'm not. Okay. All right. If you didn't know, my name is Nenna, and it's actually Nenna Joyner. That is my legal name, but actually with the invention of Facebook, you can put any name you want. So in editorials and everything, everyone calls me Nenna Fillmore, which really works because that's the store's name. This is it. This moment right here is a lot of work, had been a lot of work for me. You know, you think about sex and you think about the lying down of sex and the interaction with another person, but there's a form of sex or intimacy that you must have with yourself to bring your dream, bring your vision to life and to birth it, if you will. It sits inside of you, and it sits inside of you. It swells as a seed, a thought. Then those thoughts continue to circulate in your mind, in your body, in your universe, and they collect. They collect like dust in a dust ball, and they get bigger and they get bigger. And then all of a sudden, inside of you, they actually need to come out. And there's this frustration that happens to say, look, I need to do something about this. And if I don't do something about this, I'm going to die. So basically what happens is your vision has to come out, and you have to get creative about how that's going to happen. And so this is how I came up with Fillmore. I was actually lying in bed. I woke up from a dream, and I said, this is what I wanted to do. And I did it. I don't know how I did it. Oakland is definitely not a sex universe, right? We're so far from the sex universe. We have this rivalry between San Francisco and Oakland. San Francisco is just so much more walk down the street naked than Oakland versus toting guns and clutching our purses. And this is what we must do in Oakland, or this is what they tell us that we must do in Oakland. And I said, this is very wrong. I don't have to move away from Oakland to fulfill my dream. And that's important for us to know, that we can start our dreams and birth our dreams and our creative minds right where we sit. And so we're at the corner of 17th and Telegraph, just a little PR there. 17th and Telegraph in downtown Oakland. We're open the latest 1 o'clock in the morning. So this is the beginning of my dream. If you can't see outside, you know what Telegraph looks like, or what it used to look like. There's a store owner by the name of Mr. Brown. Roseal's shoe store. I don't know if you guys walk downtown Oakland. You never walked into that shoe store. It was the only shoe store before Soul Space and Shoe Groupie were downtown. Well, they had the big women's feet, right? They were the church lady ankles. If your ankles were swollen, this is a store that you'd go into. Well, this guy would sit there in his store, not many people, and they're like, God, how is he in business? Well, he owned the building. And one day I came to him and I saw a space that was vacant, which is a Camber restaurant for you all that are in Oakland or visiting Oakland. And I came to him and I said, hey, you know, I want to see if I can rent this space. And I went in and I said it was too big, right? And so what you think about your vision or your creativity is that I need to be able to put my arms around it so that I can contain it, I can control it. And this is all I can do. I know I have a vision. I know it's great, it's grand, but I need a smaller space, right? So one, I still looked at my budget and my monies and make sure that I had enough to cover everything. I didn't want to have a heart attack in the pursuit of my dreams, yeah? You guys can understand that, right? Anybody here have a dream that they're trying to get out and they can't get it out? Come on, raise your hands. It's a lot of people. You won't say it. You're pregnant. I know it. All right. So I went to Mr. Brown and I said, hey, I'd like to see this space. And he comes in. He's like, you know, you can rent this if you like. And I'm like, it's just too big for my vision. So I walk away. I come back. And, you know, this is the transition point for me coming back was actually I got fired from my job for having porn on my computer. I got fired twice, not once. I was twice. I wasn't going to let it happen a third time, right? Now I could get fired for doing too much accounting, right? So I got fired, and the porn you guys are privileged to, that's one of the 2 tapes that I've had. We've won Feminist Porn Awards for that in Toronto. So even though I'm in Oakland, I'm doing some international shit, which really makes me, very grateful for the opportunity that the sex industry has afforded me. So I come back to Mr. Brown. I'm walking the streets. There are a lot of vacant stores in downtown Oakland. I can basically become your commercial broker and tell you who to go to and who not to go to. And I come back one day, and there's a for rent sign in a wig store. And this was a Korean-ran wig store, and if anyone knows transition in markets, when something isn't happening for that industry, that business closes. So they were on their way out because they were wig shop, and a lot of the beauty supplies in the area were coming up with products that were cheaper than theirs. So I walked into this space, and as I was walking in, the owners of the space were actually moving their stuff out. And I said, I'd like to submit my business plan for this. He says, okay. And so that was a Friday. I didn't know he was open on a Saturday, but I was ready for Monday. All I had to do was print out a cover page that said Fillmore at this particular address, and I submitted him the business plan. Basically, I had worked my business plan for about 2 years, piecing it together and getting and networking with the right people. Because I am in the sex industry, I could not get a loan, so I had to be creative and say, okay, well, just because you're saying no, your no's are never no. They're really no, not right now, or no, I don't know what you're talking about, or no, I can't do it, but maybe someone else can. So really kind of investigate the no's that you have, and it's always never a no, stop. It's basically I need to stretch and increase my resistance to be able to get over to the next spot and decide exactly what's going to propel me towards my dream. Because this is saying something. Statistics are nothing more than markers. There's something for you to jump over, and they're never something to stop you, and that's very important. I know that you're wanting to get to the sex part, but that's not what I do. One of the taglines for the store, it's more than just sex. Sex won't keep you somewhere. Sex is only a byproduct of the actions that you do that lead up to that moment, to that intense moment that you share with a person that basically lasts for some people, it was back there, right? So you got to do more then, right? You got to bring the flowers. You have to say, hi, honey. You have to write the notes. You have to write on, I'm giving you guys some pointers here. You got to write on the mirror when they're getting out the shower because the fog is going to relieve the lettering. You have to wash the car. You have to make the bed. Those kind of things. Bringing a flower, tearing a flower off someone else's bush and bringing it in. Even though you stay in an apartment, right? So it's very important to know that the lead up, just like in love, in life, and sex, is also the same lead up that you're going to have in business and with your vision as well. So I came into this space and I was like, what the hell do I do, right? What do I do? And it was great because as you're building something, as you're building a relationship, as you're having this sex with yourself, as you're having this intimacy with another person, all you're doing is basically getting it out. You're creating something, and you're saying, okay, I don't know what it really looks like. I know you're in those relationships and you're like, is this really going to work out? But it can work out. You just have to be able to maneuver and believe and envision something much greater than what you see. Yes, she's 5 foot tall and you want her to be 6. That might not happen, but if you get her a stool, everything works out, right? Okay. So we made this space into Fillmore 510. This is my first store. I'm actually working on my second store because I believe the vision is big enough. Even though the original space that I saw wasn't big enough, the only thing that wasn't big enough was my understanding around creativity. Your vision is always grander than you expect. It's just your level of understanding about creativity that really pushes you to either fail. I don't have enough. Sex, you're saying I'm too small. I don't know, whatever your small is, but I may be too small, or I'm the wrong color, or I'm the wrong gender, or my sexual expression is so much different than theirs. But what you're doing is you're saying it's okay that you're different. It's okay that my vision is different. The creativity is bigger than the space, always. It's always going to be that way. And you have to embrace the process. The process is the goal. At first I was like, okay, I want to get in this business. I want to make millions, right? My grandmother had her grocery store business. I came out of the grocery store family when I was birthed into this world. My grandparents never worked for anybody, right? My parents never worked for anybody. So I'm really an entrepreneur by spirit. Even now, my cousins, they don't work for anyone. They got educations, but we don't work for anyone. Our plan B in our family is education. Working for yourself is plan A. And so it's basically to, I got off track there, but you got where I'm going. Your vision is basically bigger than, your creativity has to be bigger than your vision, and sometimes that doesn't happen. And you have to do different things to fail. And for me, it was, okay, how can I take the money that I have, I just got fired, and how am I gonna take this place and transform it into something beautiful? I mean, you're sitting in a beautiful space right now, but how can I do that? I've never seen that done, so how can I do that? And so I took what I learned in my grandmother's stores. We didn't have a POS system, so we did things by hand, right? And so as you come into our space right now, you won't hear cash register. You know, this is pre-Square, before Square got really popular, small businesses. So everything is very silent on the transaction. There's more involved in the transaction, but it keeps it quiet. So not saying I don't have $3,000 or $4,000, you know, I can't come up creatively with $3,000 or $4,000 and I can't get a POS system, so I can't open. Right? What you need to say is, oh, I'm going to still open. At the point of me opening, I still needed a little bit of money. The city of Oakland, I'll say your name loud, was supposed to give me grant monies. And when they said, because I'm a sex business, we don't want to give you that because we basically don't want to be on the cover of New York Times. I had to find the money. I had to find the money. You gotta imagine going to your vision and saying 80% of your vision, am I gonna go back? It takes me 80% to go backwards. There's 20% that needs to be met. I had to find the way to meet that, and that's where creativity came in. So I'm in this space. What I did before I got in this space was I took all of my gifts. When I got out of college, I came back here and I took my degree, which is in public management, and I wanted to work in the government. I love unions and things like that. So I went to the city of Oakland and I said, hey, here I am. Here's my degree. I want to get a job with you guys. They were like, oh yeah, we're not hiring. I was like, what do you mean you're not hiring? I'm a civil servant. I want to help the city. I want to, you know, move it forward. Why can't I get a job? You know, I'll do whatever. Didn't happen that way. And so I started working with my family in the film business, and I didn't get paid. I'll just put that on record. I never got paid, but my video resume is very extensive, dating back to like HDTV. I worked for the NBA a lot. I've done things for Oprah, CNN. Just got off an Inside Edition a couple days ago on a story. So I have a hidden talent, and that's where your creativity comes in, getting those hidden talents. And so I was a photographer. I still am, but I was taking my photography and my lewd ideas. Some of these aren't all mine. Trust me, the sexual ones aren't mine. Mine are more just suggestive and around sexuality and faith, and just basically allowing your mind to race to wherever it wants to be. And I just used that and I said, well, what can I do? Let me throw this image on a postcard. And I actually sold out of those postcards, right? And I also collaborated with other people to bring in postcards. I don't know if we got the video, but there's a video that we'll post later, and it's I got fired, and I was like, well, how am I going to make my mortgage? Because I owned a couple properties in Oakland at that time, and I came up with this idea to do Sugar in the Raw, an erotic photography movement, and that basically was a collection of, since the market was tanking, we go into spaces that we could rent, and we select all of these artists to come in, and we've done that twice, and I have great references for those. We had great art parties. People thought they were just walking into sex. It was just basically really good, fine art. It really was. And so I took the monies from that, put it into my house, I paid my rent, I got another job, I got fired again, and then in the course of things, of building up my resume, I went from being a production assistant to doing the sound technician, to doing the videography, to doing the editing, to the byproduct of now what you see are my talents and my creativity around the porn that you're seeing, you know? And so I'm very grateful for the buildup of the skills to allow me to eat, to allow me to get places in this world that I would have never gotten by just working for someone. So the creativity for me is being in the sex world is so taboo for so many people that they get so stuck into this three-letter word. We're having so much more than a three-letter word conversation. We're having an alphabet conversation around the exponential value around sex and its basis in creation. And that's all I did was take my gifts and travel the world. My gifts preceded me in the world. My works precede me in the world. So I've been able to parlay all of this photography, this videography into a business of marketing and advertising to lay a foundation for my current business, Fillmore. So when I'm in the store and when the store isn't receiving guests like yourself, beautiful guests like yourself, it's actually working on another end. If it's porn season, they're calling me for quotes. If it's photography around artwork or magazines, they're saying, send me your photography so we can be in there. I also do stuff in church magazines. You would know that. Right? I'm a Christian, whatever that means, but but I do things in church magazines, so continue to keep along those lines of creativity. It's creating. You're the only person that's stopping you. You're the only person that's stopping you. No one's saying stop, halt, don't go, your vision is too big. You're the only person that's setting up this fear roadblock that's telling you that you can or you cannot, right? Fear is not, it's a threat of fear. It's not fear. It's a threat of fear. It's a shadow. Fear does not exist. It exists as a byproduct of success because you're too afraid that you're going to do too well sometimes. And I think that a part of me has always looked back at what has happened to my family on their mistakes around fear and kind of collected that information for myself and stopped myself and saying, no, that you're good enough, you're greater than. So this is just a circumstance. How can you be creative? One of my earliest examples of creativity was when my grandmother actually lost her business. In 1982, she was clocking over $600,000 for a grocery store on the west side of Las Vegas. We didn't even have fresh produce. Put it like this, we were selling Brillo pads because it was a crack era. We were selling 40 ounces because we didn't have any liquor stores in the area. And we were doing fried chicken because we didn't have any hot foods in our neighborhood. And so this is how we made our money. This is how my grandmother was able to put all of her kids and all of her grandkids through private school. And so there was someone who moved in across the street who saw the needs of the community. And they said, hey, you're not doing this, and so this is what we're going to do. And then from there, she lost her creative edge, or because you're the only dog and pony in town, you don't have to be creative. You don't have to listen to your customers. You're like, oh, well, you need me more than I need you. And so this business comes in and our business closes. One day I'm in private school. The next day she says you're going to public school. One day I have horses for pets. Then the next day I'm playing with the stray dogs in the trailer court, right? We moved back into the trailer that we bought and we put in our backyard at our house. We had to bring back. And so there's just so many examples of creativity. Just to speed it up a little bit, what we offer at Fillmore, these are some of the products. You have some of the products in your bags, but one of the things I really want to highlight around sex is about the design. These are individuals. If you don't know it, a lot of the technology around the sex toys is actually coming from the Silicon Valley. A lot of people are going to design school and creating these products that will allow you to use however you want to, and sometimes they want you to use them to pleasure your body, or you're buying them specifically in certain stores, but they're a motor. This would be like a Harley Davidson without a shell, right? You can still get off on it. You might not be able to afford the Harley, but you can afford the one for $100, right? So we sell all of these things in Fillmore. How I think about sex is really around like a Kama Sutra, right? We have a lot of people coming into the store and saying, hey, do you have that Kama Sutra book? And when they're coming in for that, what they're really telling me is their sex is horrible, right? No one comes in for Kama Sutra unless your sex is horrible. So your sex is horrible, and essentially what that is saying is you're looking for a creative way, instead of going from the missionary, to do something different that will enhance your sex life. Kama Sutra for me is, just to give you a background, Kama Sutra is really just not about sex. What it is, it's a formula, it's a book that tells you, it's a lead up, it's how to interact with someone, things that you should do in a relationship, things that will keep you attractive in a relationship. So as I said, the tagline for the store is more than just sex. Kama Sutra is more than just sex. It's about the things that you're doing outside to lead up to the sex. And this is important. This was a temple that was built over 500 years. And this particular community wanted to make sure that they touched on everything, including sex. And some of the chocolates that you receive today is based on a lot of depictions here in this temple. And as you can see, there may be not many things that are replicated. So that's the creativity. It's not the sexual position that you're to pay attention to. It's really the idea behind the person who created that, and say, wow, they've tried every angle. This is what they did with their tools. This is how they came up with something that was so crazy. You're like, well, how did she do that, right? Some of these things, I'm like, I can't, I'm 40. I don't look it, but I'm like, my back really hurts right now, right? And I'm just walking. So I don't know how they could do this, but it's very, you can see if it's the forest for the trees. The trees look like this on the lower right-hand corner, but look at the forest. From far back, you can't tell what it is. And so this is the vision. This is the vision I came up with. I was working with a designer, and a lot of this work I did myself. If I did the second store, I'll actually do it myself because I do understand. This is what we came up with. This is how I don't sell sex products, right? Because people think it's too beautiful to be a sex store. They think it's too beautiful. They don't expect sex stores to look like this. They don't expect them to have the care and the very few things in the window. But we make sure that we're respectful of our community. There are kids that are passing by. And sometimes that doesn't make me a lot of money, but it also makes me a better person and saying, I'm gonna stick with my gut. I'm gonna be a preference instead of being in competition with someone else. And I'm gonna do exactly what I think that this community deserves. And so the vision I have for this store is basically the vision I have for the community, for it to be so much grander, for Oakland to be a great place that we can make love to, we can go out and have dinner with, we can have the great drinks, we can listen to the great music from Pandora while you're on your cell phone, sitting at Lake Merrick, enjoying the park or riding public transportation. This is the inside. Your vision on the inside is only something that you can imagine. And when you show it to someone else, they will never enjoy it the way you enjoy it, and you have to be okay with that. When you're making a vision for someone else to enjoy, you have to be okay with how they're enjoying it. And this is how I enjoy it. I play in my space. We're bike friendly. I ride bicycles in there. I throw footballs in there. I wanted to make sure that this was, if I were a guy, or this would be my guy den, right? This is my man cave, right? We have vintage books. I sell things from the 30s and 40s. We sell a lot of things from World War II propaganda manuals. A lot of things from Hugh Hefner, great advertiser. I really love him. This desk right here, I got off of Craigslist. The speakers in the ceilings, we got off Craigslist. We used some artisans from West Oakland to make some of the steel, make the steel shelves. I laid the concrete myself. You can tell it's a little shaky, but I did it, right? You want to make mistakes when you're wanting to be creative instead of saying, I got to get it right. You just got to get it out. You don't have to get it right. It'll get right over the time. My grandmother told me something. I was like, oh, why? I'm 16. Like, why is it this way? She says, whatever decision you make, you have to make it right for you. And if you make it right for you and say that you know that there are mistakes, other people may find value in what you've done, and that you've actually just stepped out and done something that they weren't able to do. And that's very important. So, funny guy, huh? Change the world. Fun and creativity can change the world. It says creativity is intelligence having fun. Look at the guy. He got on fuzzy slippers, for God's sakes, right? E equals MC squared, right? Right? That's one of the most valuable formulas and solutions in the world. Look at his head. Look at this guy. I mean, if you get out of bed, I hope your hair is that way, even if you don't have any hair, right? I wanted to show this and highlight this because this is how Fillmore has gotten creative. You know, having a business, especially around sex, you can't advertise like others advertise. You're not going to get invited to spaces to play that other people get to play, just to be honest. And I don't know why I said this is what I wanted to do, but I would, if I were to die today, I've done exactly what I wanted to do. We've taken opportunities. I don't know where I come up with this crap and this shit. I don't know, but I'm very grateful and blessed for the opportunity. Someone came in with some wine one day, and our stickers that we had fit perfectly. We left them up on the desk just as for a show. People said, hey, where's your vineyard? Can I buy this wine? So I'm looking for someone to help me, you know, build this brand into a wine. Up in the top right corner is a band. We'll have a lot of people that are coming by in downtown because we're all around a lot of music venues. And so I say, hey, who are you with? Are you with the band? Yeah, we're with the band. Can I take a picture with you guys? Click, click. I've taken over with 60 band members. I get into all the concerts free. I just hung out with The Knife. I never heard their music, but I love them now. And we hung out afterwards. I hung out with a person from the band afterwards at Van Cleef's, you know. I was walking down the street. I see Malcolm Gladwell, one of his famous books for me as a small business owner is The Tipping Point, because I'm always looking for how can I get this shit to tip to where I can get every person in this room, if you will, to come in one day and spend $100 with me, right? And I was walking down the street and I was like, hey, you're Malcolm Gladwell. He says, yes, I think I am, right? And so I saw him, and on the far right side is Dana King. Anybody know Dana King? Okay, well, she's been on the news, and she's also running for a district person in Oakland. And it's also basically taking opportunities where there are none. For example, when I was shooting my porn, it was so interesting because I was getting so many people to say, hey, I want to do porn, but then we're in relationships and like, well, I don't think my girlfriend or my boyfriend would really want me to do porn. So if you had a girlfriend or boyfriend, you weren't working in my porn because I wasn't having that conversation. But I had met so many people because they just wanted to find out about porn. So what I did was I took the few and I stuck with the many, and I documented those conversations, and I turned that into documentary work. So you have to find something that works. And so Dana King comes by because someone wants her to meet me. I want to meet her as well. She's a gorgeous person, not just physically, but just intellectually, right? And so she's running, I didn't know at the time, but now she's running for district person, very famous. So it's like taking those opportunities in your business and your life to look at things in a creative fashion that say, how can I do this? What can come out of this? And just trying something. You never know. It's like taking a photo of someone right now in our front row. In 2 years, she may be running for president of the United States. Start now. Don't start when someone's famous. Start now. The creativity starts now. Another point on creativity is also for me to partner with businesses in my area. There are a lot of rock stars in Oakland. There are a lot of rock stars globally, but definitely you want to make sure that you look in your community. And one of the things that we're launching right now is a bike delivery service in Oakland. Why in Oakland? Because I really believe in Oakland. I did not want to move away from Oakland to do this shit. This shit can be done right here where you are. Oakland is a safe city. It's what you say about it, just like your words have power over you. They also have power over the city. And we're working with Pedal Express, which is a co-op that has been in business for 20 years, to do delivery where we're doing free giveaways in the month of May, which is National Bike Month. But it's also National Masturbation Month. But since I don't do that much, I find that, you know, it's not just about sex and meeting people in a sex community, but it's taking sex to other people in different communities. And this is one of the ways that I get to do that, and I get to talk about, I'm not just sex. So, you know, tell those people who didn't come that they missed out, because this is about expanding your mind, expanding it beyond the 3-letter words, and just feeling more. You know, I came up with this name. I was doing some video work in Cisco. We were doing a teleconference with Yao Ming in the NBA to the director of marketing at Cisco, and we're sitting there at these telepresence rooms, and they all are named after streets in San Francisco. I said, I'm so tired of this shit, right? I'm so tired. Everywhere I go, there's a Divisadero, there's a Hate Street, and I'm in Pennsylvania. Where the hell do y'all get this shit from, right? So, and my uncle's like, we're getting paid. Don't worry about it. Just chill out. Have patience, right? We're sitting there 3 hours, and I'm like, all right. I'm sitting with sound equipment. It's very heavy, and we're sitting at a room that says Fillmore, Fillmore. And I sat there, and you know, you've been in that moment where you said, I'm not going to tell anybody this. This is my secret, but you go and tell somebody, right? Well, this is the one time that I said I wasn't going to tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone until I trademarked it. And this is my name. I wanted something that you can wear with your kids, you can wear with your parents, men can wear it. It doesn't have some funny kind of pink name on it, but this means more to me than just sex. It means that I can do so much more if I'm able to be that whole and complete person. I can deliver so much more creativity to the world. I can deliver so much more creativity to my family, my lover, my community, and the world. And thank you.